Alright, I'm going to check this while we're loading in the menu. Check, check, 1, 2. Alright, I'm going to check this while we're loading in the menu. Check, check, 1, 2. Alright, it does sound a little quiet. We'll see when we get the car audio how it sounds. Alright, it does sound a little quiet. We'll see when we get the car audio how it sounds. Sorry guys, just gotta bear with me here and making sure the audio is correct here. Sorry guys, just gotta bear with me here and making sure the audio is correct here. I've got to listen to myself talk 3 times now. Listen to myself talk 3 times now. Okay. Oh boy. Would you look at that? Dry race, apparently. Alright, well, welcome everybody. We are back again for Zenith Online Racing. This is Tier 1. It's round 14. We are in Belgium at Spa-Francorchamps, one of the greatest, most legendary tracks in F1 history. A lot of fantastic, brilliant racing here. A lot of tragedy as well. Most recently, Antoine Hubert, always fresh on everyone's mind as we come back here to Spa once again. Rest in peace, Antoine. Alright, we have some cars out on track here already. We've got GXW out on track. Now, I'm starting to think that the audio may not be good enough here because the cars sound very loud. Right. Okay. Is that a bit better? How does that sound for the stream now? Okay. Is that a bit better? How does that sound for the stream now? Okay, the audio needs to come up a bit more. Is that a bit better? How does that sound for the stream now? Okay, the audio needs to come up a bit more. Maybe 5? Okay, let's try that out, see how that sounds for balance. Okay, I think that is the sweet spot. Maybe still too loud. Packer's out? What has happened? Packer's out, I'm sorry, I haven't brought any of this on. There he is on the exit of Blanchimont, it looks like. Packer out of the session, so that is huge. Packer going to be starting at the back of the grid with Jinnit now. Packer out of the session, so that is huge. Packer going to be starting at the back of the grid with Jinnit now. Yeah, the echo's still there because I'm checking it myself, Sam. I'm just trying to make sure it's good from what I expect as well. Yeah, the echo's still there because I'm checking it myself, Sam. Just trying to make sure it's good from what I expect. Okay, but I think you guys can hear me pretty clearly now. If I put the headphones back on, I hear the game nice and clear. The game's loud enough for you guys too. I think we're good here. And this is on board. It's always a little louder on board. So we go to the other cameras like this. It's a little quieter. You can probably hear me still pretty well. Just leave some comments if you're popping in, if you're listening, watching. Let me know how the audio is sounding at this point. Let's find a hot lap. There's got to be somebody out there. Looks like Alpha Tauri moving through the back of the track there. There's GXW, who's invalidated, so we'll not check in with him. What about Beck? Beck on these wet tires. We'll ride on board with Beck as he makes his way through Puhan. very slippery out here, as you can see. Obviously, the full wet, really struggling for traction. But Beck, nice and quick on the throttle there. Just a little bit of wheel spin, minimizing that though. He seems to have really solid grip, doing nicely here. Making his way through the final part of the track, through Blanchimont. Approaching, oh, big bobble on Blanchimont. You can definitely see how Paco would have lost the car there. Absolutely. Makes sense now. He's got to be infuriated with himself at this point. Here comes Beck. Oh, big bobble there again. And 58-2 for Beck. So he's the first time of the session. Oh, big spin for Bobby. He's off into the barrier. So Bobby spun around the wrong way. He needs to get himself turned around. That's bad start for Bobby. Ryan is retired from the session. He must have crashed as well. Looks like he has lost it through Blanchimont. There is another car off. Is that Bobby again? Maybe. There is a lot of cars crash out of this race, or qualifying session already. Obviously the rain putting a huge damper on things. Not much grip out there, and this is one of those tracks where you're always trying to find. And yeah, just some guys getting desperate with very low grip. Not quite got the car stable, and also a dry race, so a lot of these guys will have their dry setups installed despite the heavy downpour, so that will complicate things further for qualifying. Alright, audio check, how we doing? Everything sounding good? Let me know in the chat there. Got 7 people tuned in. That's pretty solid for the start of quali. Usually we get a few more towards race time. 18 cars here tonight. Mr. Joshua has invalidated. Let's find another car. That guy's invalidated here. Doth on the lap. Doth, one of the supreme drivers around this track. It's one of his favorites. He absolutely flies here. He's got 58.3 on the board already, so let's ride with Doth as he makes his way through Puhan right now towards the end of... Oh, big bobble there for Doth. He's off. Audio is good, alright. So Doth having to make his way very gingerly back on the track, keeping it safe there, not really in anyone's way, doesn't have to really do anything. His teammate, I believe, is behind, so they would have been communicating regardless. Comes Zemoglis. Is he about to set a time? No, Zemoglis heading to the pit, so Zem in 4th currently, about 5/10 down on Doth. Doth just behind Beck, and Fuzz with an absolute ripper, 57.4 from Fuzz. He has laid down the benchmark here early in qualifying. A great lap there from Fuzz. I did miss that when it went up. Great to see from him. And Fuzz is very good at this track as well, so generally not one of the top qualifiers, but the wet weather has given him a bit of a chance here. If Fuzz can hang on and secure pole here and starts out front, stays out of trouble, I think Fuzz definitely could win this thing. He definitely has pace out the front. It's a little harder moving through the field, obviously, for anybody, especially in this tier. Fuzz hasn't really started near the front too often, so Fuzz getting a clean start out front could scamper away with this one. Doth hopefully has something to say about that, though. He is going for another run as he makes his way through Radion up the top of the hill, heading toward the Kemmel Straight. No DRS here, but that's where he would open it if he did have it. Absolutely flying on the Kemmel Straight. What kind of speed is he hitting here without DRS? 320, so just steaming down and into Lake Combe. Very tricky set of corners here, especially with the wet weather. There's so much reliance on the curb, and they are very slippery. This is Bruxelles, I believe. Bruxelles. I'm going to double check that map so I don't sit there calling it the wrong corner of the whole race. This one doesn't have a name. Then we make our way down the hill. Such a beautiful circuit here. Swings it into Puhan. Not the kind of speed we want to be seeing at this point, but it's too wet to really take any risks. And Durnia getting out of the way nicely here as he makes his way through. Down into... I forget the name of this one too. Gotta get my map up. Gotta refresh my mind. Stavelot. Stavelot. And then we make our way to Blanchimont. Blanchimont, a very tricky corner when the tires are worn, and especially with low grip in the rain. But Doth absolutely pins it through there. Barely a lift. Absolutely flying. This could be a great lap from Doth if he can get these final two corners right into the bus stop. Oh no, he heads into the pits. So maybe he had lost so much time earlier in the lap that he didn't feel it was worth completing. Is it lightening up the rain a bit? Maybe the Inter is becoming a potential quali appearance here for the intermediates. Maybe. That's hard to say. Does look like the rain let up a little. Looks pretty bad here though, doesn't it? So, we started with Matthew Dernia. He's on a hot lap right now. We haven't really seen much from Dernia lately. It's been kind of quiet. Oh, big moment for Dernia. He is off. The car has gone full 360, and it's not too bad. I've seen worse. He got away with that one. There goes Mr. Joshua, his teammate, down the straight. So let's get on board with Mr. Joshua. Missed last week's race. He is back. Mr. Joshua having a really, really steady season here. I'd say at times Dernia looked like the quicker driver, but Joshua's just been extremely consistent, scoring, steady. So he's going to be looking to make up for a little bit of lost points last week. See if he can do it here in qualifying. He's on off the drier line there, maybe to cool the tires. But it is a very slow corner regardless, but obviously he's gone a little deep there. Did not mean to, but it could help a bit. Alright, the stream back open, so keep an eye on the chat again. Now that I've refreshed my memory on the corner names. This is Stavelot. Corner here, you see a lot of guys losing it on the exit. This one here, running wide on the curb will put you into that barrier. And then if you try to cheat on the inside curb, it'll spin you around. It'll put you into the barrier anyway. So, barrier is a very attractive place. A lot of drivers seem to end up there. Pulls you in a variety of ways. And Joshua bails on the lap. He's invalidated it. Smart move there to get back in the pits, though. Invalidated right on the final corner and figured why go around again and just pit. Let's check in here with Dylan, who has not set a time yet. He is still in the garage. Doth has gone out on the inters. Yes, he has. Or he's got them on at least. He has not gone out yet. But the rain is lightening up, I will say. So, if we see a little bit more clearer sky approaching. There's a bit of a dry line there. Back on these wets has gone purple, though. But that could just be a sign that the track is improving. Perhaps the inter is the right tire. There's still 5 minutes left, so I think that's plenty of time for everybody to... Even guys out on track right now can head back in and get the inters on for a final run. Beck will need to consider whether it's worth finishing this lap or not. If Beck was to go finish this lap, there's a very good chance he might not get another hot lap in on the inters. So, maybe in his best interest to pit here and just assume that these tires aren't going to be quick enough at the end. Big moment there on the exit of Puhan as well. Nearly lost it. Gets it under control. It's Campus is the little chicane there, so Campus corner on his way down into Stavelot, and then he crests around up the hill and down towards Blanchimont. One of the fastest parts of the track in the dry. The wet, I'm going to be a little more cautious here. Time's back gonna get here. He looks good on the exit. So much wheel spin, but he had the speed. It was there. The grip, he was still moving in the right direction despite the fact that he hadn't quite stabilized the car. So 56.6 for Beck. That's a big improvement on those wets. Doth, where is he? Still sitting on the inters in the pits. Zem on the inters in the pits. These guys are just waiting for their final run now, I believe. So Beck, it's gonna take him 2 minutes to get back around. He's probably got, what, a minute 20 left to go on this. And that puts him at 2. Yeah, he's in trouble. I think he's going to struggle to get back. Or back out at least, because they're going to have to push his car in. Then he's going to get all the way back around to start the hot lap. I think he's done. That's it. Beck is done. If Beck doesn't turn the battery down and just go for another run on these tires, then his qualifying session is done. All the guys in the pits right now, power to them. They are waiting to go out on the inters to get their lap on the board. Guys out on the wets right now maybe should consider pitting if they're at the end of the lap. Guys like Camden. Camden is going to put the lap on the board. And he will not get another run in. He will not get an inter run in. GP Colin just started his flyer, so he's going to be sticking with those tires. Guys on the inters, I don't know. Maybe it's a gamble. I have no idea why there's so many guys out on wet still. Joshua on his out lap has invalidated. He won't get back out on the inters. He's got to put this lap in now. Just because he's already out on the tires. And by the time he pits, he won't get back out in time. So he has to go for it. GP is off on the wets. That's detrimental. He is absolutely toast. I don't even think he's got time to get around for another run here either. Not where he's sitting. Who's making their way through right now? Let's find a hot lap to get on board with. There is Camden on his way. We'll check in with Camden first, and then behind him, and we have a bunch of guys on out laps on those inters. I feel like the inter is probably a quicker tire at this point, just with the track drying, with all the cars running. Hard to really say, though. I don't know. It still looks pretty slippery, and the rain is coming down. So, I mean, it's not like you're racing on them, I guess. You're just, I'm just trying to put a good time in, so if the answer is maybe you get away with them on the dry line. But if you were trying to race with them at this point, I don't know if they'd be worth it. Alright, Camden now. Approaches Blanchimont. Does he keep it flat? No, he lifts heavily. But keeps it steady, doesn't run wide. No instability there. Let's see what kind of time he can do as he makes his way through the bus stop chicane. Rounding it with 154. He's got to get there quick. Oh, he's got a lot of wheel spin on the exit. Just not working for him. 159 flat. So that'll put him in 7th for the time being. It's not bad. I mean, it's a decent place to start. You have tire choice anyway, so not a big deal. GP, though, making his way around. He will have time to get another lap in here. Hopefully he's got those tires worked in. Let's go check with Zem. Oop, someone's off here. Is that Camden? He's just getting off the road. Zyg on an out lap. Zem on a push. Doff making his way through. Let's ride with Doff through. Eau Rouge and Radion up the hill. Just a tiny lift there, just to keep a little bit of grip. But let's get back to Zem. He is the lead car here, making his way through Lake Combe as he heads down the hill into Rochelle. Rochelle, a tricky corner as well, especially in the wet. But turn 11 here, and then down the hill, the double left-hander Pouhon. Big lift for Zem there. I think these inters maybe, I don't know if they're getting the extra grip in the straight line, maybe just struggling in the corners a bit more, but he doesn't look super confident here. Dylan did not get a lap on the board, and somehow Packer is finished starting 13th, despite the fact that he crashed out. That is unbelievable. So he must have had something that put him ahead of some of the other drivers for some reason. Anyway, Zem here. Zem way up on the Delta here. It looks like he's going to cross the line here for provisional pole. There goes Zimagos on the provisional pole. Let's check in with Doff. Can Doff get it done? Where is his time? T-Money on to provisional pole. Doth into 6. He is done. He did not improve. Zyg making his way through. He is up 3.3 seconds. That could put him on the front row if Zyg can finish this off into the bus stop chicane. Great lap from T-Money, though. He has snagged provisional pole from Zem and Fuzz. And JXW sneaks into third. That's pole for Zyg. Zyg is on pole position. Unbelievable stuff there from Zyg. The Ferrari driver takes pole. The Ferrari driver you would have bet on at the beginning of this session has gone 8th, and Zyg has snuck pole away. Unbelievable stuff there from Zyg. Great stuff. T-Money in 2nd. This is going to be a great race with the grid so shook up. I am very excited for this. Fuzz in 3rd. JX is 4th. Zem 5th. Beck is 6th. Durnia 7th. Doth 8th. GP Colin 9th. Camden 10th. Joshua 11th. Adri 12th. Packer 13th. Arrow 14th. Ryan 15th. Dylan 16th. Jinnit is 17th. And Bobby is 18th. Everyone will have free choice of tires, dry race, wet qualifying. This is going to be super, super interesting. Some of our fastest drivers are starting at the back, and the guys out front can start on whatever tire they want. This is going to be great. There's ever a night to tune in. I think this is it. This is going to be one of the most interesting grids we've had all year. Completely shook up. I have really, honestly, if you ask me who's going to win this race, I honestly can't tell you at this point. I don't. I know taking can be done here fairly easily, but you're still going to have to follow cars. You're still going to have to make the moves. That's going to cost time. You're not going to have a tire advantage being further back like you usually would. I just don't think. I don't know. I just don't think this is a standard race tonight. Like I normally would say Packer, but what advantage does he have at this point? Usually he's out the front. So I can't say that any single driver has an advantage. What I would say is Zyg has been really, really solid in races this year. Someone has started early. Dylan. That is a 10-second penalty, my friend. So Dylan already picks up a 10-second penalty to start the race. JXW, Camden, everybody else rating up now. Obviously, they did not initialize it. It was Dylan. So obviously that's a cut and dry one. We don't even have to debate it. You just can't do it. You got to give guys a couple minutes to settle in and get their strategy set. You can't just spam it. Unfortunate. So we'll have to remember that. Depending on where Dylan finishes, could lose a couple places more. Zyg takes off on the formation lap, followed closely by Mr. T-Money. Best qualifying of the season for T-Money, I believe. Starting on here. I'm going to check these tires. Wow, so Zyg and T-Money opting for the softs here. Fuzz JXW going for the medium. So already you see... You know what, though? I wonder if these guys maybe didn't have a chance to set their strategies. It's entirely possible. Regardless, so Fuzz and JX starting on mediums. Obviously going to be my hedge bets for winning this thing. Or at least Fuzz for sure. JXW. JXW's had pace this year. He's been really solid, but it just seems like something always goes wrong for him. So I'd really like to see him tonight not have that thing go wrong. Like, let's see that podium tonight. Fuzz definitely could pull it off. These guys are quick enough on these softs, they can get away, but they have a good crack at it too. The guys behind here, Zem, Beck, Durnia, Doth, all on soft tires. Going to be very racy at the start. Not sure if it's the best strat, but probably going to get a safety car at least once. So tire's not a huge thing really, probably here. Especially given soft mediums. Pretty doable strategy here. I think you have to worry too much about tire wear. So here's the field there, making their way around through sector 3. Interestingly though, Arrow and Packer are starting right beside each other, fighting for a championship, 13th and 14th. I can't remember who the next closest driver is. Let me check those standings real quick. Camden. So Camden starting 10th. I mean, it's not really much of an advantage either, is it? Dylan way back there too. So no real advantage here today, but we are just about ready to go racing here in Spa. It's the Belgian Grand Prix. It's round 14. This is Tier 1 of Zenith Online Racing. We've got Zyg on pole. We've got 5 lights on, and we're racing. Looks like a good start from Zyg. T-Money gets away well. Yeah, good start there. It looks like JX going for it on Fuzz here, side by side. Fuzz bumps with T-Money, and Zyg's off to a good start here. Looks like he's going to get a little bit of breathing room here from the two guys scrapping behind. JX is going to have to tuck in. Fuzz takes the lead through a Rouge, through Radion. Anybody losing the car here? We got cars side by side back here. It's Aerostrike and Packer. Sorry, it's not Aerostrike and Packer, it's Aerostrike and, is it Bobby? Bobby almost gets Aero down the Kemmel straight there. Into Lake Home though, Aero with more grip. Really needs to get ahead here. He cannot afford to lose any ground at Packer, and he does stay ahead. So Packer already up ahead there, fighting out front. Comes back side by side with Dylan. Oh, Beck runs wide, but Dylan takes that place. So Dylan's on a bit of a charge here already, up into 8th place. Doing very well in the start. Let's check in with the front here. Zem, JXW getting very close to the back of Fuzz. T-Money just pulling away from Fuzz, and Zyg trying to get away from T-Money, but T-Money's reeling him back in. So good start for those guys. Let's check in here. Zem all over the back of JXW. He might have a crack in Blanchimont here. Zem with a good haul. Those soft tires getting ahead early. Zem takes the place. JXW really under threat here. Dernia's about to get him as well into the bus stop chicane. Can Dernia make a move? No, Dernia I think is just going to lose out here. JXW really needs to get those tires working. So you got a really good exit here. He's going to be able to fight Dernia back now into La Source. He will not have to fight wheel to wheel, so that's good news for JXW. He's getting his place back. Arrow's making a move on Adri here. Gets it done through La Source. Now heading down the hill behind his rival Packer as they make their way through. Somebody's off. It's a Ferrari. Is that Doth? Doth has had a moment. Packer off the track. He has to lift a bit to get that place back. So he can't make a move off the track, so he gets the place back, and now it's fighting. I think that's a legitimate position now. It was close enough. Adri with a moment. Adri's gone round. Adri with a bit of a spin there. He's off onto the grass. We've got Packer trying to make a move on Beck here. Sending it around the outside of turn 11. No, does not get it done. Beck absolutely slamming the door in his face. Through Puhan. Can he take a sniff? He's super close through Puhan here. Going to the outside on the exit of Puhan. Beck just squeezes him out there. Through the campus chicane. It's not really a chicane. I guess it's more of a S-bend, but safety car. There it is. Dernia is out. What has happened to Dernia? He's gone off. Through the entry into Stavelot, he's gone off. So Dernia out of this race early. We have a safety car. That will shake things up at the front, surely. Some of these guys on softs got to consider going to the hards. Now, the guys in the mediums, I think they can run it for a little while here. This could be a chance for guys like Fuzz, JX, and Mr. Joshua to go and stretch their legs a little bit out front. They do not need to pit. Zyg pits. T-Money does not. Zamaglos has pit, so all the guys in the medium staying out, obviously. Makes perfect sense to me. Unless you've got damage. Mr. Joshua is pitting, though. I'm not sure why you would pit if you're on the mediums. I guess maybe you're looking for a little bit of some advantage here. So you're going to throw the hards on if you're on the mediums and just go to the end now. And that will give you a free pit stop, essentially, if you're already out of place. Like Camden was running 10th anyway, something like that. Not a bad decision, actually. I kind of support that for those guys a little further behind. I think Zem, he was on the soft, so definitely a good call for him to pit, but gave up a lot of track position. But if you look at all the guys who have pit, Zyg on fresh mediums has pit. So Zyg, with his pit stop done, stays ahead. Zem is net second. Mr. Joshua is net third. If the pit stops actually were free. I mean, they could end up falling so far behind that the guys out front might make the difference up. It's hard to say at this point. We'll say Packer, though, in fifth on the mediums now. He's in a great position to fight. We've got somebody AI up there. Looks like a couple guys AI, actually. Yeah. Packer in fifth, though, able to fight now. He's got Dylan, who's been making a charge lately. Like, Dylan, you know, didn't really seem a threat for the title up until he showed up a few weeks ago, and he's won a few races, and now Dylan, you know, Dylan consistently keeps finishing ahead of Packer. He'll put a threat towards that title at the end of the season. And Aerostrike, a tough customer as well, is no slouch. He's sitting 12th right now. Of all the cars that have pit, he is 5th. So Aerostrike's sitting in a good spot here. Hard to say who's made the right call here. Dylan on the softs, though, so he'll be disadvantaged in that sense. Same with T-Money, but T-Money, again, leading the pack. I think T-Money has pace, enough pace probably that he can get away and to use it to his advantage. I think if you're anywhere but the top, I mean, if you're not out front on the softs, I think you should have pit. The only guy on the softs right now is Dylan, besides T-Money. Ryan is also on the softs. I'm not sure why. He's pit to the softs. I don't know if that was a mistake. Maybe he thinks they'll last. I have no idea what. Definitely put the hards on if you had to pit early. 2-stop is not going to be worth it here. Alright, I guess we got another lap of safety car, and it sure is a long one, so let's go through those standings for you. So, Packer leads the championship of Tier 1. He's got 179 points. Aero has 168. Camden with 141. Iro Dylan has 125, as I mentioned, making a charge lately. ZOR, Mr. Joshua on 94 points. He is 5th place. Ryan has 87. Doth has 76. Infamous Pillars has not been here for a bit, but will return. He's at 62 points, 8th place. He's going to have some work to do when he gets back. Fuzz, who was recently added as a full-time, I guess not recently, maybe 6-7 races ago, but he's been making ground. Fuzz has 45 points. Vitality has 37. Vitality 10th place. Charlie in 11th has 37, and T-Money has 37 as well. So 3 guys tied there for 37 points. Then right behind them is Zamoglis with 35, Zyg with 26, Matthew Durnia has 26, GP Colin has 26 as well, and JXW has 24. So very, very tight there. 20 points separating 9th place in the championship to 17th place. That is quite similar to what we see on Track Weekly. We do see these kinds of qualifying times as well. Very, very tight through, 7-8 cars that are just really competitive with one another. JXW is, sorry, I went with him already. Beck is 18th. Beck is very fast, but struggles to score points. High DNF rate, but he did get a lot of points a few weeks ago. He's got 12 in the bag. I think all came in one race. Adri has 3. He's in 19th. Recently joined as full-time driver, so just started earning. Bobby Teva still sitting on 0 in 20th place. So I would imagine the safety car becoming what it is right there. That was good timing on those standings. I guess I got time for the... we'll do the constructors if there's another one. You guys can do the math. If you're keeping notes, you do the math and let me know. T-Money takes over as the lead car of the pack. He will control the pace. He's got plenty of time to warm those tires. Something we saw over the weekend, actually. Hamilton leading under the safety car. And Bottas was not... You saw Hamilton aggressively warming his tires, and Bottas was just kind of sitting there. It ended up costing him. But I was thinking, from Bottas' point of view, if he starts to warm his tires, Hamilton's just going to drop the throttle and go. So I think T-Money had a bit of an advantage in that sense. There we go. Cars behind. Packer is making a move already. It looks like... Was that Dylan? It is Dylan making a move on Fuzz, it looks like. Yeah, Dylan is got by Fuzz and JXW, I believe, on the restart. So good restart there from Dylan. Got his tires warmed up, and he's on the charge. He is closing on T-Money already as they approach Rouge. Anybody close here as they come up the hill through Radion? No, everybody's fanned out a bit. Looks like got a good, really safe restart there. Here comes Dylan, right on the back of T-Money. He's going to send it down the inside. We're on the shoulder. T-Money does well with a bit of a lock up there, but defends it. So T-Money holds the place for the time being. That is going to help Packer close back up. Fuzz still third. Packer needs to close and make a move. JXW behind. And Jinnit in sixth as well as a reserve driver. So Jinnit running pretty well so far. Mr. Joshua and Camden having a battle back there. Let's get to that. Looks like Joshua comes out on top for the time being. Camden very close as they enter Puhan, though. Not close enough to take a look. And the sun has come out. It is a very sunny day here at Spa now. Camden just hounding Mr. Joshua. And that is allowing the cars behind to really close in as well. Let's get back to the front. Packer all over Fuzz here. As they head through Blanchimont. Is he close enough? Fuzz just struggling with that top speed a little bit. Fuzz covers the inside nicely into the bus stop chicane. Packer looking for that switchback. I think Packer got a better exit there. He's going to have a good crack at this into La Source. Can Fuzz defend it? Did well to defend in the bus stop. Fuzz takes the outside line here. Maybe looking to get on the throttle a little bit sooner. And they're side by side now. Fuzz and Packer going side by side down the hill to Rouge. Is this worth it for Packer? The risk is not worth it. He backs out of it. Smart move. He's fighting for a lot here today. He cannot afford to have a crash with someone like Fuzz in Rouge, someone he's not directly competing with. If that's your championship rival, I don't think either guy's backing out of that one. Beck is out. Beck out of the race, as I mentioned. High DNF rate. It looks like he's done it in the pits, actually. Maybe something has come up for Beck. Or he's had a spin or something. I'm not entirely sure. But Beck calls it a night here early. So, had a really great start. Just sort of disappeared. And now he's out. Really good qualifying as well. Packer pounding T-Money through Puhan. Dylan absolutely scampering off with this thing at the front here. That is definitely going to be hurting Packer's bid for a race win here, but he is on the better strategy. Dylan does need to be pulling that gap at this point if he wants to make this thing work. Zyg, who was on pole, is now in 8th. He's got his pit stop done, and he is closing in on the guys in front who have not pit. So his tire's starting to come to life a little bit, while the other guys just starting to feel the degrade of the rubber a bit. Zyg trying to take a look here in the bus stop. And that has allowed Zem very close to Zyg. Nice chopper shot here. DRS has been enabled, so that is going to be massive for Zyg here. He needs to get by GP Colin. He cannot afford to spend another lap behind him. T-Money looks like he has been passed by Fuzz here as well into La Source. So Fuzz gets the run up the hill, but will T-Money get the DRS? I believe T-Money will get the DRS down the Kemmel Straight here. T-Money does, and Fuzz also with DRS, so that's going to help him, and Packer's going to be under threat from Fuzz and T-Money here. Comes Zyg on the back of GP Colin. Not get it done into Lake Home. Packer picks up a penalty there. That is huge. 3-second penalty for Packer. Oh, big moment there. Looks like GP has had a moment. Zyg and Zem have both got by him. Must have had a snap of oversteer through Puhan. And he's just had to lift. get the car stabilized. Did well not to lose too much, but 2 places there. Oh, Jinnit is now starting to close on JXW. So Jinnit on the, as a reserve, looking pretty pacey here. So on the tires he started on, those mediums, 6 laps old, and he is chasing down JXW, the Tier 1 driver, who's on 6-lap old mediums as well. So JXW, Jinnit definitely a quick driver. I mean, it's not like you're saying much. He's in Tier 2 because he's adjusting to assist, not necessarily he doesn't have pace. But I think there's no shame if Jinnit gets by, but JXW is going to be fighting for Tier 1 rights here and say, no, you're not passing me as a reserve driver. Well, Jinnit might have something to say about that. So as they open the DRS down the Kemmel Straight, Jinnit absolutely flying. JXW looks like he's just going to give this one up. Doesn't want to lose time fighting a reserve driver who seems to be quicker. So Jack's going to let it go, try to keep the gap to Zig behind. Got Ryan getting by Doth there. It looks like Doth's race really has just fallen apart on him. It's unfortunate to see. I mean, he's still running with that lead pack, but he's at the back of it, and that's not normal for Doth. So let's see if Doth can shake off that rust and get back into the fight here. Definitely expecting that from him. Jinnit through, starting to build a bit of a gap. Let's go check in with GP Colin and Camden. They're trailing Mr. Joshua quite closely here. And Aerostrike is closing in as well. Aerostrike not a big fan of this track. Said it earlier in the chat, he didn't particularly like this one, and just seems a tad off the pace here. And you can see why. I mean, you're a fast driver and you don't like a track, it's generally probably because you're not that quick at it. Or you're not that quick at it because you don't like it. One of the two. But either way, you're not going to have a great race if you feel like that before the race. Nonetheless, Aero doing well to hang with that group. He's not too far off. He's just not displaying the pace that we're used to seeing week by week. So see if he can get it turned up towards the end. He's definitely more of a long stint kind of guy. So see if it works out for him. We got Zamoglis now in that Alfa Romeo. He's chasing down Zig in the Works Ferrari. Zig having a pretty good race here, though. He is under pressure from Zamoglis, but he is still leading that group of cars that have pit. We got a yellow flag, and that's Bobby out. That could be a potential safety car. Could be. Looks like we're just going to get a yellow then. The car has been cleared, so I think we're good. No yellow there. Sorry, not no yellow, but no safety car. So I'm just checking some stuff. Yeah, okay. So I'm really applying that pressure to Zig. Bobby. Have a good night, Bobby. That's shit. He's had a pretty decent run in Tier 1 this year. Obviously he hasn't scored points, but he's been very close a few times. And he's definitely done a lot better than I think he expected himself to do, so it's just unfortunate. This is one of those tracks, though. It's so much fun, but it is tough. Very easy to crash. I think I was fighting for a podium here last season and spun it myself, much like Zem almost just did there. A little bit of wheel spin, and I just got desperate and stayed on the throttle, and I put the car around, ended up costing myself a podium. one of those tracks. You just want to excel, and it's so easy to push so hard that you screw up. Dylan has gotten a warning, or sorry, a penalty for multiple warnings. And what I did miss there, Dylan has pit to the medium, so Dylan now on the exit of Puhan, trying to make a move down the inside, and he does. Absolutely chucks it through there on Camden. Taking no prisoners here. Dylan on a mission to close back up. Hacker has taken the lead of the race for the time being. Fuzz has given him a pretty good run there. He's only 1.5 off at this point. Jin at 4 seconds off, so not a huge threat there. Another spin. I know. Hey man, I spun twice at Hungary, which I said was one of my best tracks, and it just happens, man. I've spun this season. I've spun more times than I ever have in all of my league racing seasons combined, which is crazy, right? It's so easy to get in your head sometimes. Dylan and GP Colin side by side here. GP Colin fights that through Radion. Dylan trying to force another overtake there. Camden was a little more polite. GP Colin said no, sir. I don't know what that little move there from both guys was. Maybe just trying to say, like, don't try to pass me there or something. I don't know. But here comes Dylan. He's going to take a look again. He's not going to be friendly this time. There's a big lockup. Wow, that is a bump pass if I've ever seen one. If he wants to eradicate a potential penalty, I would give that place back and then take it properly. The only reason they didn't crash was because GP Colin gave him space to not crash. That was not a clean overtake, though. I'm not afraid to say that. Definitely should have considered giving it back, but he's moving on. He's just going to take the penalty, whatever comes, I guess. He's thinking about Packer more so than GP Colin at this point, I suppose. Mr. Joshua, he's all over Mr. Joshua here. Mr. Joshua will not yield easily as they approach Blanchimont. Mr. Joshua on the inside line. Here they go. This is a tricky corner. Oh, and he bumps Mr. Joshua. Mr. Joshua's had a moment, and he's gone round. Iro Dylan has squeezed Mr. Joshua out and spun him off. Oof. Now that is a moment. Iro Dylan said he made a feisty move on Camden, and I don't think it was just for Camden. It was for everyone tonight, because there's been a couple questionable overtakes there. Iro Dylan now making an attack on JXW, and if JXW is listening, I would recommend not fighting this too hard, because it's not been polite. Dylan again sweeps across, takes the place. It was hard to tell from the angle, but it definitely looked like he left a little more room that time, but was still pretty decisive in cutting across the front. Jinnit with a 3-second penalty, so Dylan moving forward now. Zyg next up on the list. Let's go check in with this little group here. Camden, GP, Adri. Mr. Joshua has lost a ton of time from that spin. He must have really struggled to get it back on track. I think he was facing the wrong way when we left him. And he's got wing damage, surely. Maybe he had another moment just from the overheated tires, but I will say, I don't know. It's a tough one. To go side by side through there, I really don't think either guy should be touching, but when you're on the inside line, if you don't take that as a full from the right side of the track across to the left, you do tend to understeer a little bit, and maybe that was the reason there was contact, but it definitely looked like Dylan could have left him a bit more space as well. So, hard to say, but really unfortunate for Mr. Joshua. Regardless of who's at fault, or if it's a racing incident. Very unfortunate. Camden closing We got GP closing on JXW here, so we might have 3 wide here into Lake Home. But no, it looks like Camden just didn't have enough pace, and GP Colin is going to hang on to that place for now. GP Colin doing well here. Doth picks up a penalty, running in 10th currently. Aerostrike in 11th behind him. Here comes Dylan. He's now caught up to Zyg. Zyg's doing a fantastic job here. He's really separated himself from every other guy that had pit when he did, besides Dylan. And I mean, that's really no shame, because Dylan is ridiculously fast compared to almost every other driver in this tier. He's like a step quicker. So Zyg, you know, being caught by only him of guys that have pit, that's pretty impressive. Zyg running a really nice race here. Doesn't need to take any risks here. I think he just needs to have a good finish here. Don't fight it too hard. Dylan's going to get you anyway. Just do your best to keep your tires right and stick with them. Got to get a little bit of a toe up the field. Behind GP Colin on... GP Colin needs to pit. The guys behind Camden, Adri, Doth, they're not really a threat. So Zyg's in a really good spot here for a podium. I think Zyg, we could be looking at a 2nd place finish for Zyg here, because Jinnit has to pit still. Dylan is trending towards the front. Packer needs to pit, but Packer is going to lose. Packer is going to lose enough time that Zyg will get him. Zyg will for sure get Packer, but we don't know if Packer's going to have the pace to actually catch back up to Zyg and perhaps retake 2nd place. So we'll see what happens there. But either way, Zyg looking poised for a podium here. He just has to keep it steady, bring it on home, keep those tires right, don't cut any corners. He's running a really solid race here, and he definitely needs it. He's had a really rough season, but he's had some really solid results as well. And starting on pole position, he's going to convert that into the podium if he keeps it steady Eddie tonight. Doth now seeming to find his rhythm a little bit. He is starting to chase these guys down in front. He's got a bit of a penalty to overcome as well. Give Doth an obstacle to overcome. He seems to drive better. Well, we'll see. Doth can use that as motivation to get himself further up the grid. Aerostrike trying to hang on to Zem here. They're struggling a little bit. Just needs to get some points here tonight. Definitely, if it's not one of his favorite tracks, getting any fall points will be a decent reward, and he can move on and focus on some of his stronger circuits. So Camden now trying to close up on Adri ahead. He's got Doth closing behind. So nice little battle we've got going on here for what is now 4th place. Oh, there goes Packer. Packer coming out behind both Camden and Adri. And he's going to be under threat from Doth on a warmed-up set of mediums with DRS. Can Packer do anything to fight Doth back here? Hey, Packer gets a good haul here. So Camden now knows Packer's one of his championship rivals. He's going to fight tooth and nail with Packer here. He's not giving up this place easy. Packer absolutely sends it on those cold tires. The confidence. That's why he's the championship leader. The confidence on cold softs absolutely chucks it down the inside and makes it stick. Adri with a monstrous lockup here. So Adri looking to play spoiler through Sector 2 here as they approach Puhan. Camden and Doth going to try and hang on to Packer here. Can Adri do anything to fend off Packer at this point? Surely he'll get done through Blanchimont, but will Packer get it done sooner? Packer will get it done sooner down the inside. Through campus. And he gets it done. Into Stavelot. Packer has the place. So Packer now... Yeah, Packer is definitely going to get Zyg here. There's no way he won't. The pace is just outstanding. He's on softs. Zyg, though, is running a very nice, comfortable gap to the next closest guy. So Zyg comfortably sitting in a podium place here. Packer is going to get him regardless. I do not think it's worth fighting Packer when he gets there. Packer is not out of the woods yet, though. He's going to have some Guys behind with DRS threatening, but just the extra grip he's going to have down the Kemmel Straight should give him enough to stay ahead, regardless of how close these guys get. So Adri does get DRS. Looks like Camden and Doth will as well. Adri is closing with that DRS. Packer having a bit of a moment there, and he's losing a bit of ground. Without the DRS now open, here comes Adri again. Not close enough, though. And behind, Doth goes through. Doth around the outside on Camden, gets it done into Lake Home. Great move from Doth. Camden going to look to try and hang on to that, but Doth on the better compound there, those mediums. Seems to have a bit more pace, and now he'll start going to look to chase down Adri. I really hate to say this, but Doth could even go hunt down his teammate Zyg here and steal that podium off him. And normally I would think, I mean, they're not going to fight. They're not going to fight because they work well as a team, but Zyg's not going to want to give up a podium, and Doth's not going to want to let him have one. I mean, I'm sure from a personality standpoint, Doth wants him to have one, but as his teammate on track, Doth does not want him to have one. So that's going to be very interesting towards the end as well. Does Zyg have enough pace to keep himself in front here? Let's see if he can do it. I just mean to keep himself in front of these other cars. I figure Packer's a done deal. Packer's going to get him here down the Kemmel Straight. If I'm Packer, I wouldn't risk anything through Radion or Blue Rouge either. No, not worth it. Just sit back, get that DRS. Pull on out, and away you go. Zyg's just going to pull over, let him go through. He's not really going to fight this. Nothing he can do. Doesn't have DRS. Packer breezes by, and Packer into second, so it's a 1-2 for Haas currently. Zyg is sitting third. Behind, we have Adri under threat from Doth. Doth Hoist sees his teammate not far up the road anymore. Doth seemed a mile off Zyg earlier, but now Doth looking at a potential podium here. If you told me lap 3 that Doth could have got a podium, I wouldn't have believed you, but here we are. Doth runs wide. Doth is carrying a penalty as well, and Zyg is not. So, or I mean, Zyg might be, but I don't know that Zyg is. I can't say for sure that Zyg does or doesn't have a penalty. But regardless there, Doth, even if he does get through, is going to have some ground to make up if Zyg has been keeping it clean. Camden is starting to fall off just a bit as Doth is starting to close on Adri. Actually, Camden gets a good run here into Blanchemont, actually. He is closing as they approach the bus stop chicane. Doth just harvesting a little bit. Doth with a big snap there. He is under threat from Camden. Camden is going to take a look here into La Source. Can Doth fight this back? He can. Doth is just far enough ahead to cover that off. But Camden going to have a look down at the Kemmel Straight now. Who gets the better exit here? Camden looks like he's just losing a bit of time to Doth here, so Doth has the better run. Camden looks like he had to lift just a tad, and Doth, I think, might have this covered off, especially with that DRS. He's definitely going to have a good chance at defending this. Camden not going to be able to get close enough. So Doth stays in formation for another lap. That could help Zyg. I think Doth had to get by Adri last lap if he wanted to go get Zyg and clear him. But he can definitely still catch up and pressure him. He needs to get by Adri here. And with the threat of Camden behind, Adri is not really slim pickings at this point. I just want to point out, great result for Adri here too. If he can keep this one on P4, I think that would be his best result in Tier 1. And for a guy, even as a reserve, for a guy who dropped a bunch of assists at the beginning of the year, has been trying to regain his form. He's been doing really solid lately as he picks up a 3-second penalty. Curse of the commentator, but that will be detrimental to his finishing result. Janet picks up a penalty as well, so tires start to wear, people start to run wide, track limits are not very friendly anywhere in this game. Adri's actually closing on Zyg here. I'm starting to wonder, maybe those mediums are just starting to fall off a little bit, because it looks like Camden is starting to close up on Doth again as well. So are the mediums not good enough to go this long? The hard tire may be a better option for the final 3 laps of this race, and these are 3 long laps. These are not, it's not a quick 3 laps you have to defend here. In fact, it's about 3.5 laps, and they're not quick, they're long. Adri all over Zyg here with that DRS, he's got it open. Adri into the podium places. Could Adri possibly secure a podium here? Adri keeps that place, gets it done. Zyg slips down to 4th. Doth is 5th. Doth now has his teammate ahead. Doth on the medium tires. I mean, they're both on mediums, really. You just kind of have to go with whoever's quicker here. Put them in the front and let them go chase. Hard to really say who that is at this point. Camden kind of just sitting back here waiting for this to pan out. He's disadvantaged by the fact that the 2 cars ahead of him have DRS. He really can't do anything. Dylan picks up another penalty. So I know Dylan has 6 seconds. Packer has 3 at least. So if Packer can get that gap down to 3 seconds, there's a chance Packer wins this thing. And there could be more penalties in play for those 2 as well. I haven't caught everything, but I've seen a lot. Yeah, Camden just not able to close here, really. Comes GP Colin and T-Money. Something's wrong. T-Money has an issue. T-Money must have had a moment there because he was trying to find the right gear. No, and he's lost a bunch of his wing, it looks like. Yeah. So did maybe T-Money and GP touch there? They may have touched, and T-Money's picked up damage. And there's really not much left for T-Money to gain here. I'd be surprised if he just parked it. Oh, true. Good point, Sam. Packer is going to get it. Dylan started the race early, so he's going to get a 10-second penalty for that. Something that cost Packer a win earlier in the season. And if the time penalties aren't massively different, Dylan's got a 10-second penalty there. So Packer and, well, not Adri. Adri's close, actually. Adri could get Dylan, too, if he had no penalties, but Adri does have penalties. So yeah, Dylan carrying a 10-second penalty for starting the race early. Here comes Camden. Those hard tires finally coming to life in the end of the race here. Just taking a peek at Doth into the bus stop, and Doth has to brake heavily as he almost plows into his teammate Zyg there. And that's given Camden a massive advantage. Camden now side by side with Doth as they approach turn 1 La Source. Can Doth defend this? Doth dives, fight it back. No, Doth loses the place, but he will get that DRS down the Kemmel straight. That's going to be a huge advantage for Doth. Let's stick with this battle. Here comes Doth Valhoist with that DRS on Camden. Camden has DRS as well. Doth is still closing quick. Can he get it done into Lake Home? No, he cannot. Camden covers that off. So there'll be one more lap for it. And Zyg may just hang on to 4th here. Could potentially even get 3rd once the penalties settle. It's a great little scrap here for the 4th place on track. potentially a podium. And just behind, Zimoglis closing in as well. So Zimoglis coming to take a little sniff of this action for the last lap. Wants a piece. Doth with another 3 seconds. That's harmful. Doth, I think, has already lost ground to these two in front, and he's lost even more there. He may even get... He's probably going to get passed by Zem, Arrow, maybe even Jinnit. Potentially Fuzz, too, depending on how many penalties Fuzz has. But here comes Camden, looking to make a move on the outside into the bus stop. Zyg fights it back. Camden just has so much more grip, and he absolutely flies by. Camden gets that done. Zyg under threat from his teammate behind now. So Camden into 4th. And depending on penalties here, Camden could end up on the podium. I know Adri has, I think, 6. At least 6 seconds, I think, for Adri. So it's the final lap here. Dylan's still leading on track, but Packer in net lead with time penalties there. Adri's fallen off far enough that I think Dylan still takes P2. Potentially 3 wide here. Oh, it's wheel to wheel there for Zyg and Camden. Oh, Camden sweeps across and he gets it covered off. It's very unlikely we're going to see an overtake now, but here comes Zem. Doth locks up massively trying to cover off Zem. So Camden does well to defend that. We're so close. Zyg nearly had a chance there. As the 4 cars approach Puhan, is there anything in play for Blanchimont into the bus stop here? Could see it. The grip levels varying for each driver here. It looks like Doth is going to be able to take a crack at Zyg into bus stop here. Camden looks like he may have cleared Zyg. May have him covered off here. Zyg just seeming to struggle with grip a little bit. Here comes Doth. He's bringing Zem along with him. So Doth closing, Zem closing. Can Zyg keep this covered? Nothing really there for Doth to look at. Zyg is going to cover this off into the bus stop chicane. These guys just need a good exit now, and it's all said and done. Dylan wins on track. Packer finishes 2nd. He'll actually get the win. You know, I think Camden actually gets P2 here as well. If you give Dylan a 10-second penalty here. What is that? 0.2 would be 2.9. Yeah, no. I think Camden has gotten P2 by 1/10. Dylan has a 10-second penalty for starting the race early. So, Packer wins it. Camden is 2nd, and Dylan will take 3rd by a 2nd over Zyg. Only a 2nd. Zyg in P4. Adri takes 5th. Zem 6th. Arrow 7th. Doth drops to 8th with all those penalties. Rough one for Doth tonight. Fuzz takes 9. Jinnit actually lands in the points, but he won't get that point because he's a reserve. But good drive from Jinnit there. Gets a point in Tier 1. Really solid race there. So, our podium will be Dylan, Packer, and Camden. Dylan actually will be P3, I think, once it's all said and done. We're not... we're not 100% sure. I mean, you know, actually, someone just pointed out, Dylan with some pretty aggressive overtakes today as well, so we could see even more time penalties added. He might even lose a couple more places, really. It's hard to say, but he definitely lost the win. He lost P2 as well, I think, at least. And I'm positive he'll get a 10-second penalty. It's a clear, cut and dry thing, starting the race early. There's really no arguments to be had, so I don't see how he doesn't get a penalty for that. It's unfortunate to lose a race like that, but it's the way it is here, so... There is the finishing grid. Let's go through it quickly once more. Dylan wins, or sort of, Packer wins. Dylan comes 3rd. Camden's actually 2nd. Zyg's 4th. Adri 5th. Zem 6th. Arrow 7th. Doth 8th. Buzz 9th. Jinnit 10th. JXW is 11th, Ryan is 12th, GP 13th, T-Money 14th, Joshua 15th, Mr. Bobby Tava with the DNF. I think he had a DNF. Yeah, you did. So Bobby back in during the DNF 16, 17, and 18. That is it for round 14. It's tier 1. That was Spa-Francorchamps. We will get these guys in for the interview, the party chat. Just give me one quick moment to set that up. All right. I don't know if you guys can still hear me, but I just want to point out that Dylan is already in Share Factory. So he is getting his defense ready for whatever stewarding may come tonight. So Packer, Dylan, Campton, Luca. All right, so the invites are out. Let's get back to that menu. We'll go back out, get out of here, and go to we'll go to the little showroom there.
Well, hello there, Camden. Coincidence seeing
Hello.
you here.
Yeah, fancy seeing you here.
You guys are best friends, eh?
Yeah, we've made it a habit to be in here on both Thursdays and Mondays, it seems like, so.
Yeah. Is
Big,
Dylan gonna join, or is he pissed?
Big, how was watching the race?
He was good. It was a good race. Lots of action, lots of good scraps.
I have
Qualifying
a
was
few
pretty
warnings to
interesting as well.
appeal. I have so many to appeal right now.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, Dylan started it early, so he's getting 10-second penalty right away.
Yes, that means
so
Camden, you should be second.
You're second by a 10th. Camden.
Yeah, I saw that because I knew he had the penalty, so I was like, "Wow, a P2. That's cool."
That is massive, actually. It's another podium for you as well, which is something you've been pulling off quite often this year, and that's why you're right in the mix for the championship hunt there as well. So,
yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah, the last few races have been really well. I don't think I should have finished second today. I did not have a second place car, but
no, I mean, but that's just how it goes sometimes, right? Like, you keep it clean, and you're in the fight, and you make the right moves at the right time, and those hards started to come back to life at the end. I noticed Doth seemed to have you for a little while, and then with about 3-4 laps to go, those hards seemed to be working a bit better, and you were able to actually fight it back.
Yeah, there was a great battle with me, him, and Zag there at the end. Fantastic battle for that.
Yeah, I was watching
eventual last podium spot. I didn't know that Adri had a penalty, so.
Yeah, Adri had a really good race as well, but I figured he had a bunch of penalties. I saw he had at least 6 seconds, so I figured he was going to drop a couple.
Yeah.
But I guess Dylan not joining. It said he was in Share Factory, so he's probably making clips for all this potential stewarding. There were some questionable overtakes out there tonight from Dylan. Very aggressive
Sorry
moves.
for kind of shoving you, or almost killing you. Going up Radion. Sorry about that.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I was very aggressive at times too. That whole first lap, I was just driving way over my head, was just way too aggressive. So
Dylan's in. All right, so I guess we'll start with the race winner, who by penalties should be Packer for tonight. So Packer, you want to run us through your race? What were you thinking? How did the strategy work for you? How were your tires feeling? You happy winning like that, or would you rather have done it on track?
So yeah, qualifying obviously wasn't the greatest. The greatest for a lot of.
You lost it there, eh?
Yeah, I was in the dirty air one of the Alpha Tauris. It might have been JX, and then it just lost it, just spun, and I went into the wall. And then the race, Dylan said he was going to do the normal strat, soft and medium, so I went for the alternate just to change it up a little bit. I got into a little bit of contact with Adri turn 1, and then I think I made it past Arrow Strike up a Rouge. And then, yeah, just getting to a bunch of fights with a lot of people lower down the field, like Adri. Well, not lower down the field, but lower down in terms of position in the like situation. And then like Adri, Camden, and then there's a safety car, and then being up top, and then just like trying to keep my gap to Dylan because I know he had the 10-second penalty, and then he was picking up penalties as well. I believe he had 9 seconds in the end. So yeah, just trying to keep the gap to him, and then trying to manage my pit entry back into the field on the soft tires.
All right. Well, it was another solid race. Obviously, another win in the bag for you. Yeah, you're always right there. If you're not winning it, you're damn close. So, congrats on that. It builds on your lead to two of the closest threats here in Tier 1. Aerostrike didn't have a great race tonight, but Camden and Dylan are hot on his tail. So, obviously, a good result for you, building some more space to them. We'll move on to Camden Luca, who will end up actually taking P2 because of Dylan's 10-second penalty there. So Camden, you finished P2 by a 10th, which is ridiculous. And you said it earlier, you didn't really feel you had a car worthy of P2, but you're I'm sure, very happy to actually secure that.
Yeah, I told Puff last week that Belgium was probably one of my worst tracks, and I think I'm going to take that back now. This was a good result.
You were solid there tonight. Really good drive, nice and clean.
Absolutely.
No real mistakes, and you got the strategy right. So.
Yeah, but qualifying was chaotic. I just couldn't get a lap in. The rain was insane, and had a couple invalidated laps, but was able to work my way through the field. That first lap was crazy, and then it kind of calmed down afterwards. We had that safety car, and I debated on staying out and just going with the strategy that I had initially, but I wanted to make it to the end, so I think that was a great decision to come down and take those hard tires. But yeah, I'm just thankful to be in the podium with how competitive this tier is, and with Dylan and Packer being in here again. These podiums are hard to come by, so yeah, it's just a good solid race.
Yeah, it's like week to week with these two on track, it's almost like there's only really one spot left on the podium. It seems most races week to week with these two guys on track. So it's definitely an achievement. You've been here quite often, actually. So congrats to you on that. Picking up another podium. This time it's P2. Not something that you're going to come by very often with these two drivers on track, but obviously nice to secure it here. Dylan, we'll move on to you. Probably pretty frustrated with yourself starting the race earlier there. You picked up a 10-second penalty right off the bat. You were probably trying to build up and clear yourself of that throughout the race, and you picked up a few more penalties as well. So how are you feeling after that one? Are you happy with P3? Are you frustrated with yourself? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed because I know probably on pure pace-wise, me and Packer were probably the fastest out of the grid.
Yeah.
And me messing up my qualifying lap really ruined my chance of basically, running away with it. But it's still a podium, so I'll take it. But I mean, I wanted to win, so it's a little bit disappointing, but I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure. Again, you guys definitely had the pace for a 1-2. You were clearly the quickest two guys out there today. Obviously, external circumstances will be applied, and you're gonna drop to P3. But again, still a podium. You've only lost another 10 points to Packer, which isn't too detrimental at this point. And from what I've seen from you the last few weeks, I think that you can beat Packer. It's definitely something that's doable. And I think if you're able to do that for the final, I think we have 8 races left now. Do we have 8 or 7? Either way, there's enough races left that you can still close that gap if you just beat Packer. And obviously, other things can happen. You never know. But given that you missed so many races as well, it's pretty impressive that you still got a crack at this thing. So, don't hold your head too low. Keep it high. You're a quick driver. You did awesome the last few weeks, and tonight you just kind of got screwed a little bit. So, don't feel too down about it. We'll move on. Again, we'll go back to Packer once more. Anything else you wanted to add about the race? Any questions you had for the other drivers? We'll kind of open it up for everybody here if you guys wanted to say some things to one another, and then we'll wrap up the stream here.
I mean, there's nothing else I can really say about the race, from my point of view or Dylan's point of view, I don't think, because we were in the same party, but I don't know if Camden has anything to say, but we could probably move on to Monza next week.
Yeah, so, Biga, did you end up counting how many cars we lost through Radeon?
You know what? I don't think we lost any through Radeon. It seemed like everybody was crashing. I don't know, actually. I honestly lost. I wasn't paying attention. It's hard to tell when you're like calling the race, especially alone. It's very hard to tell where people have crashed and lost it because it's usually something that you're not going to focus on when there's racing actually happening. Yeah. So I really didn't notice, honestly. I'm sure somebody probably did in the stream. Maybe they can let us know, but yeah. If that's it, we'll wrap it up. We're going to get the stream wrapped up before 9:30 tonight, which I'm very happy about because sometimes these things go on quite long.
Yes, I can agree.
Yeah, and we get a little carried away in the podium interviews sometimes.
Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore. Yeah, it's a long one, especially if it rains there. Man, it's a long race.
Oh my.
Yeah. But
Imagine
yeah,
safety cars and rain. Oh my.
Next week we go to the Temple of Speed. It's the Italian Grand Prix. We're at Monza next week. Anyone feeling great about Monza? Anybody fantastic there?
Yes.
Just loves it? Yeah.
Nope.
Who's that?
Me.
Packer?
Most definitely me. I'm an Italy merchant.
Well, if you had said that about any race this season, I would have believed you. So
no, but I'm an even more merchant of Italy.
Okay, so
all I'm saying is he's really good on ABS, but on
no,
ABS,
no.
I don't know how good he is on the ABS.
I'm just goated at Italy. Don't deny it. Hey, Dylan, where were you?
It's because all it is straight line and brakes.
Listen, okay.
Wait, Dylan, weren't you like out of the points in LOA?
I mean,
and I was
shit
like fourth.
Happens, shit happens.
Yeah, don't get wing damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like this inter-team rivalry. Actually, it's quite spicy.
Oh, this is a daily occurrence.
Yeah, I believe it. All right, so obviously we have a lot more action this week still to go. Thursday night we've got Tier 2. We're still in Belgium for that. Sunday we have the EU tier. And then next Monday we move on to Monza, the Temple of Speed, the Italian Grand Prix. That's round 15. We'll hope to see you next time. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's been Zenith Online Racing. I am Arbiga. Have a great night.